ये जो एपिसोड है 22 एपिसोड में हम जा चुके हैं मूवी समर्थ और आई एम कैपेबल प्रोग्राम। हमारे साथ बहुत दिग्गज जुड़े हुए हैं उत्तराखंड जीबी पंत नगर से प्रोफेसर देवव्रत सिंह साहब, जिनका बहुत बड़ा एक्सपीरियंस है, और डॉक्टर दिनेश कुमार आईसीआर दिल्ली से, और डॉक्टर जी साई कुमार इंडियन वेटरनरी रिसर्च इंस्टीट्यूट बरेली से, और डॉक्टर स्वागत महापात्र ओयूटी भुवनेश्वर से। तो हम सभी को स्वागत करते हैं, और बच्चे लोग के साथ अपना मैं ज्यादा समय नहीं लेता हूँ कि आप लोग का जो एक्सपीरियंस है, विजन है, बच्चे लोग को कैसे इंस्पायर किया जा सके, आप शेयर कीजिए। मैं प्रोफेसर देवव्रत सिंह से गुजारिश करूंगा कि अपना ये जो मार्गदर्शन दीजिए। बच्चे लोग जो जुड़े हुए हैं बेसिकली +2 से पीजी तक जुड़े हुए हैं, डिफरेंट पार्ट ऑफ कंट्री। सो प्लीज इंस्पायर with your knowledge and vision, sir. Professor Devraj Singh, sir.
Thank you. My dear participants and my friends and the organizer of this program, Movie Samartha, I welcome you all from my personal capacity that you all are joining this program and participating on the theme, the animal scientists. You know, the animal science is going to cover a broad subject which includes many domestic animals and also the wild animals. The domestic animals, as you are must be watching right from your childhood, that in your families or in neighbors' families or in any farm where you have visited, you must have seen many different kinds of animals. You may be looking at their sizes. They are small in size. Some of them are larger in size, and some of them are still larger. If you want to name them, they may start from the sheep, goat, pig, then horse, mule, donkey, cattle, buffaloes. If you are from northeast Arunachal Pradesh, like, then yak, and if you are in the western part of the country, the camel. Somewhere you are also keeping the elephants. Likewise, you see there are large number of wild animals as well, and all these animals, whether they are domestic animals or the wild animals, they are the subject of animal scientists. You would wonder to know that the association of human with the animals has started right from the civilization. And the first domestic animal has been the goat. Then slowly, the dog, etc., they have been joining with the human beings. And the sole purpose of association of the animals with the human being was the interdependency, meaning that the human beings were dependent on animals. Likewise, the animals were also dependent on human beings. And that's why an association was formed, which became stronger and strongest today. There are many factors why you need association of the animals with you. Simply because man is the consumer of the products which are of different kinds and are obtained from animals. If we think from cattle and buffaloes, then you get immediately the milk from them, which you consume every day. And this milk is a complete food. So you get milk from the animals, also from the goat, which give you the very best quality of milk, even to children and the old people, and also the patients. So this kind of the interdependence on the animals has been right from the beginning. So different animals, they are useful in different ways. If you talk of the horses, they are useful for pleasure, for exercise, for racing, for this and that. Businesses also. If you think of the pigs, they provide you the meat and also some other products. Likewise, in desert, you have camel, which is also known as the sheep of desert. And you need it. There is no other animal which can survive in that climate. So you may think of that why we have different varieties of animals with us. Simply because the climate of the big nation is not uniform. Different types of vegetations, different type of geographical conditions and climatological conditions, they exist differently in different part of the country. And these different climates, they do not suit perfectly with for a single type of animal. Hence, we have different type of animals with us, and we also have different requirements. Say, for example, for sheep, the sheep, from sheep and goat, we get the mutton and meat, shavel. Also, from sheep, we get the natural wool. Likewise, from goat, beside having the milk, we also get from them a very good quality fiber, which is known as pashmina. You know, the cost of pashmina is very high, very, very high. And it is considered the best fiber from which we can really prepare the woolen garments, and they are very hot in winters. So the man has really been very wise and clever that it have chosen the animals of his choice by which its life could be easy and it can live peacefully, comfortably in any kind of climate. Even the leather, which is being used today in different, say, apparels or objects, that is being prepared from the skin and hide of the animals after, say, taxidermy or processing. So each and every product of the animal is useful to humankind. Not only that, the thing which we consider useless, that is the dung or pellet, that is in the form of feces, they are very useful for improving the soil fertility and its condition for the plant's growth and the crop production. But you see, this is the man which is taking everything from the animals for its own use and comfort. But at the same time, there are certain duties of human beings that which we should perform towards the animals also. I want to say that the human beings should also be responsible towards the animals. And that responsibility is termed as, in another way you can think of, that how we look at, how we keep the animals and rear them. So animals, as you know, they cannot speak their own language in the way you understand. They just behave. So their behavior must be understood and their requirements must be fulfilled so that they feel comfortable and express their behavior in better way. This is known as welfare aspect. So human beings must also look at the welfare aspects of the animals. We should not just think of exploiting them for our own uses and purposes and comfort, but we should also think of their comfort and well-being. And this will then become the both-way channel, not only one-way channel. So far, this concept of welfare has not been so widely studied and widely understood and widely applied. But Nowadays, this welfare aspect is also going, expanding its horizon even in the wild animals also. So wild animals is a really new chapter in which there are a lot of opportunities. Likewise, looking to your nature of, say, nature of liking. So you may think of looking at the animal which is most liked by you. Some of you may like the cattle, some others may like buffaloes, others may like sheep, goat, rabbit, yak, camel, pig, and horses, like that. And you would wonder that each one of these species, if you go near to them, they are so enjoyable. They may relieve your stress and they will enjoy your company also. Nowadays, a new concept is coming up in foreign countries in which they are going near the cow by paying a fee, handsome amount of fee to the farmer. And then they are just embracing the cow onto its neck, and they are feeling great comfort, great relief in the company of the cow, and they are paying handsome amount for that. This is known as cow cuddling. So in foreign country it is happening. So it has been in our old ancient literature that these kind of things have already been mentioned. And you know already that our old ancient Vedas and other literature, it is written that the holy cow, which we call Kamdhenu, was as a gift after the churning of the ocean between in the fight of the Rakshasas and Devas, Deva Asur Sangram. So it has a long history, and we are perhaps forgetting the importance of our own animals and perhaps looking at the other countries' animals for better production. In that way, we are looking at just production in quantum, but not in the quality. I would like to emphasize over here to you all, the beginners, that we must inculcate in our in ourselves the concept of quality, which by and large the Indian people are not thinking about. They always think that we have the cattle number, buffalo numbers, and in that we are number one in the world. They always think that what is your rank. So in cattle, we proudly say that India is number one in cattle. India is number one in buffalo. India is number one in milk. But we do not talk in any platform what is our rank in the quality production or quality animals. So this is a big challenge before the scientists and before the beginners like you, that we should inculcate a concept of quality, and this is the quality which will sustain forever. This is the quality which will make us great. Our India was great, has been great, and our ancient literature is full of these proofs. So please, we should not just blindly see towards other countries that they have the better livestock, better animals than India, and our Indian animals have been really taken away. Prized breeds have been taken away by foreigners, and they have been propagating our Indian breeds for their own benefit. So this is what I just wanted to say before you, that we must be proud of our animals, and this animal science arena and subject is a great subject which has a large avenues of not only one kind. You can become veterinary doctors, you can become animal scientists, even you can join the army if you are basically animal scientist. You can also go in wildlife department as expert, and there you will be serving all those animals who really cannot speak, like human beings, and you can relieve them of their sufferings, which would be a great, great task being human on earth. So that's what in beginning I would just like to exhort you all about the animal sciences and its arena and scope before you. So if you are thinking of joining animal science department as a student, you are most welcome. And there are thousands of branches available, like say biotechnology, Dr. Saab is here, and likewise veterinary science, dairy science, fishery science, poultry science, meat science. So these are different branches which are available, and you can join any of them with a bright career. Thank you.
थैंक यू प्रोफेसर सिंह सर. मैं जी साई कुमार, डॉक्टर जी साई कुमार फ्रॉम IVRA, इंडियन वेटरनरी रिसर्च इंस्टीट्यूट बरेली से गुजारिश करूंगा कि अपना जो दिग्दर्शन दे बच्चे लोगों को.
Yeah. So, children, you have heard at length Professor Singh telling you about the scope of animal scientist. By now you are aware, he has highlighted to start with how human beings came to be associated with animals from the very early. This tells us, gives us a glimpse of how we came to do animal farming and which of these animals that we still see around us as livestock, domesticated livestock species for growing food, for making available the essential nutrients required for proper human growth. You have also by now seen all around you other animals of interest to us, and there are a whole range of pet animals that man has come to be associated with. Then there are working animals, pack animals, including the horses and the donkeys and other animals such as the camels or even elephants have been put to good use by humans to work for them. And you know, some of these animals have been used by mankind for fighting wars against each other. And they have been used by the army by, say, talk about elephants in India or horses in rest of the world, and subsequently horses here in our country as well. So basically, world has been populated with some animals which, when we saw its utility, came to be in practice for rearing them for our benefit in rest of the world. Now, elephant is not to be found in many other parts of the world, like here in Asian countries. But then horses likewise were not originally in such great use in this country, but they were found elsewhere. But looking at the merit and the benefit of rearing these animals and their utility in warfare and for working for us, we all humankind have come to rear them and breed them, evolve these species to make them more useful for us or make them more amenable to our needs. So you have heard Professor Singh telling you that how these animals going back to thousands of years before, when we were still perhaps hunters and gatherers, we had animals that could be used for hunting, and then dogs and those that came from wolves were the first ones perhaps came in association with humans. But later these domesticated animals, be it the large ruminants that you see as the cattle, buffalo, or the small animals, the goat and sheep, they were all now put into farming practice along with farming for crops that can be used for human food. There isn't any place on earth where animals have not been used by humans. So naturally, if we are to live with them, care for them, and cultivate them or do farming most methodically in a gainful manner, then there is science involved in it. Besides meeting our food requirements nowadays, you would have seen that animals are also put to experimental procedures so that the drugs, the therapeutics developed for mankind can first be tested in animals. So besides these animals, when we talk of the domesticated animals, there are others that also we have taken interest to for the use as a laboratory animal species. So there comes in the rat and mice and rabbits to guinea pigs. They are also part of the animal science and used equally by medical scientists. And for all this, in the biomedical sciences, you might say, there's a lot of animal science that is involved. And every medical science that strives to develop medicines, therapeutics, will go through a rigorous procedure of the development of these new medical therapeutic agents. And what will they do? They will first test in these animals. So animal scientists, the veterinarians, are also required to know about these laboratory animals, their physiology, their behavior, and how they would behave and react to certain of these drugs that we would inject, whether they are fine with it or there are adverse reactions. Meaning, to tell you very briefly, the animal scientists and veterinarians have a very, very big canvas and a lot of learning to do, starting from the mice to the elephant. Terrestrial animals, flying animals, or those in water, they all concern us. So, without going much into the repetitive things, I would say that this is quite an interesting field. For those of you who are planning your future, I would say that you might have heard that it's good to be a doctor, it's good to be a medical scientist. Yeah, you could be interested in that. But if you care to look more deeply, you will see that there's no barrier where the animal and veterinary sciences ends and where the medical science begins. You will see that all that starts from what we observe and learn from animals around us. You will see that science is basically done in these small animals and then moved after thoroughly testing them into humans and for our benefit. So you would see that a veterinarian is called upon to do so very many kind of things. Dr. Professor Singh has already told you. A veterinarian could be employed in the army. There is a special branch which recruits because there are animals also put to service in these. There are in the police department also you will see animals being used. In the army, dogs to horses they will be used. So naturally there are people, doctors, veterinary doctors also required there. And then the list is endless. You have to treat and care for these animals. So the veterinary medicine will equip you to be able to do that. You are concerned with the well-being of domestic animals, with wild animals and pet animals and all kind of animals. So you will find job opportunities in the zoos, in the forest department, in the wildlife department, in the environmental sciences departments also, and very many places, including in the academics, research organizations, and that is not limited to animal veterinary science organizations. You will find job opportunities in the best of the medical schools, medical research institutions. Here from India and from where we teach, every year students get into medical schools and research laboratories and the best in the world, be it in America or in the Europe. Some might already be aware about this. The opportunities are endless, limitless in veterinary animal sciences. That's in short I would like to emphasize. And These veterinarians and animal scientists not only are bothered about animals, they are equally bothered about the environment and human health. There are very many diseases which actually originated from animals, and by being in close contact with these animals, we acquired these diseases. Now you might have heard tuberculosis is such a very common disease, but we can get tuberculosis from animals. There are very many diseases. You might have heard about rabies, a fatal disease that when a rabid animal, a mad animal, a dog at it bites humans, it can end in a very fatal disease in humans. The list is endless. There are so very many diseases of importance that we get from animals. So naturally, veterinarians understand them better and do that necessary intervention to cut the risk from contracting these diseases from animals. Haven't you heard about, you're already past high school, you are in the middle of a pandemic, the COVID-19, and you might have heard snippets of news that you have come across. The speculation, though at this stage it is not confirmed what the source was, but for sure there is a lot of indication that this disease originated from animals, got into human species. I think there are many other examples you would recall. Not long ago, the swine influenza, another flu, and the bird flu coming from birds are all posing risk to human life. So, if you get into this profession, into this stream of science, you will not be let down, and then there would be no shortage for you to draw inspiration, to serve the society, to do great science, good science, useful science through being an animal scientist or a veterinary scientist. There won't be sufficient time if I go on to emphasize only just this aspect. I think Professor Singh made a fit case for it, and there are other experts waiting. Yeah, I would at this stage only like to emphasize that the limit to it is endless. There are veterinarians who have made vaccines for use in humans, and they can very possibly do that because there are very many diseases which originate from animals, so they understand these diseases. Microorganisms that cause diseases in humans are also much very similar with a little variation at times here and there, but affecting and causing a slightly different disease, but more or less the same disease in different animal species. So, if you are a trained veterinarian today, you find that there is no limit to job opportunities or to do good and great science or do social service or just care for the animals, or maybe you could grow into be an entrepreneur, because after all this science and the technologies that come into place, they are all having some commercial angle to it. Only a small case, if I have to just give one example in the shortest possible time. You as a veterinarian, understanding animal diet requirements, could be formulating animal pet feed, for example. Then there's a lot of scope for commercial feed manufacturing for animals. You see them being advertised, use this feed or the other for production, for lactating animals, for making more milk, or for raising young calves. Very many kinds. So you will find there is plenty of scope to be an industrialist and an entrepreneur after going through this. The poultry sector is a big enterprise. You know, they do lot of export and do generate a lot of foreign exchange for this country, contribute to not only food security in this country, but also supplement the farmer's income to the national gross domestic product. With this, I will wait until any specific questions are raised. Otherwise, animal scientists and veterinary scientists can do a great job, and it is a time that you take a keen interest in this stream of science as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. G. Sai Kumar. And now I welcome to Dr. Dinesh Kumar, Principal Scientist, ICR, इंडियन एग्रीकल्चर स्टैटिस्टिकल रिसर्च इंस्टीट्यूट दिल्ली, जिनके पास जो सुपर कंप्यूटर चलाने का जो अनुभव है बच्चे लोग को साथ शेयर कीजिए, और उनका जो बहुत बड़ा जो योगदान रहा, उनका जो जर्नी रहा, जो कितना जो डिग्री लिए है, उनके बारे में भी थोड़ा बच्चे लोग को थोड़ा जानकारी देंगे। प्रोफेसर डॉक्टर दिनेश कुमार जी।
Thank you, Dr. Lakshmi Narayan Bakshi ji and Dr. Singh sir and Dr. Sai Kumar sir. It's wonderful to be with you all, and we are here and we wish to share our experience. At the same time, we wish to be of some use for the students, that why to become scientist and why to become animal scientist. So I will be speaking little different way to convey the message that why at all I have to be scientist, why not something else. And I will give you one hint. If you do not feel that I have to be scientist, please do not be scientist, because this is the profession where you enjoy more when you work more, and this is the profession when you do not enjoy, even if you work, nothing comes out of it, because this is a sort of you can say it's a music. If you like it, you will do it for the lifetime, and some of you can become Rahman, and if you do not like it, then you will sing the way any ordinary person can sing, and you are not going to make a career into it. So it's not that difficult. But first thing, please do not listen to others, but listen to yourself. If you like science, if you like animal science, then you think about this, but keep one thing in your mind, that whenever you are deciding, should I become a crop scientist, should I become an animal scientist, should I go to the veterinary science, should I go to the medical science, you listen first what you like. Do not see the market, but see yourself what you like. And we also request to you that you put forward this to your parents also, that I like this subject. And please do not get totally driven, but at the same time, I am not underestimating your parents. Parents are much more mature, responsible, and a reasonable parent will ask you that son or daughter, what you like, let us facilitate that I am sure. But if you do have any confusion with your parents, please approach please approach any of our seniors, or our Lakshmi Narayan Bakshi ji, or to me also. If required, I can speak to your parents. So listen to your heart. Then question comes, how to decide that you have to be animal scientist. Then I will come why to become scientist. First thing is 33% weightage. If you like it, consider it. Then look for, can you afford to be in that situation, like your parents are allowing you to send. And then lot of fellowship opportunities there that I wanted, and I discussed with Sri Lakshmi ji, and that I will be sharing. So money is not a constant. The only thing is the right information at right time with the right people in right mindset to become scientists, and particularly of animal science. And there are some reasons which our seniors, they have well explained the scope. They have made my task easier. I will not. I will now talk how to implement that kind of program, which our seniors, they have just discussed. Then see the 33% of the scope. And if you see today, as very rightly two of the speakers they have said, the animal science has got huge importance. I will give you only one or two hint to have little more weightage on my statement. If you see the farmer suicide rate, and you see the presence of animal science, especially the animals, domestic animals, which you saw the list which our sir has given, you see wherever the animals are with the farmers, the level of suicide is very less. If you compare with the American suicide, you will find the beauty of animal with the farmers. Then second point is, if you see the total role of the animals in agriculture sector, it is actually increasing. and it is increasing so much so that it is providing now job to more than 20 million people. And you see the scope, it is now contributing 25% of the agriculture GDP, and India is already top in the milk. But the question is, can we develop our people to become animal scientists who can process the milk and milk product? And then the farmer's income will be very high, and this has a huge branch. And animal science, I will also say that there are opportunities not only in the traditional area of animal science, but also in the animal biotechnology, which is a very common and a part of the animal science in form of the animal biotechnology. And today, if you are undergraduate student, and maybe you have taken botany, zoology, chemistry, or you are a 12th student, you have taken admission maybe in the local college in zoology, botany, and chemistry. I think you have a grand opportunity if you have confidence in you that I have to build my career. Maybe in crop science, we don't mind. If you like it, please go ahead. But think about the animal science, which is actually less saturated and where the scope is much more. I'm not undermining the other discipline. Please, first golden line is if you like it, then only you go for the animal science. You see the area of expansion. Now, in whatever science you are, maybe in the crop science, maybe the fish science, maybe the animal science, we started our economy with the hunter food gatherer, which Sir was referring, the first domesticated animal, the goat, fine. Pastoralist economy turned to the agrarian economy. Then agrarian economy became the industrial economy. Today is the era of knowledge economy. Knowledge economy in the sense, if you have innovation capacity, if you are thinking out of box thinking, something new, then animal science is a great opportunity to do lot of innovation in the animal science. If you see the data of the patent in the animal science of last 5 years across the globe, you will be surprised that animal science is a great science for the innovation. And if you see in India, we are at 48. That means less than 2 from 50. 48th place in innovation index. That means 47 countries, they are having better innovation than us in the ranking of 131. But if you are an animal scientist and you have the way of thinking to make interdisciplinary science, like science related with other disciplines also, then you are innovative, and then you can do lot of things. The hint I am trying to give you that multidisciplinary animal science is really going to be a big thing, and 21st century is for biology rather than your computers and other things. But yes, they will be there. But artificial intelligence and big data is now tagged with biology, and if you compare, then much more in the animal, including the human research, for which you need the exposure of the animal science, and most of the experiments are also happening in the animal science. So even the human researchers are also animal scientists as far as the drug development is concerned and the other basic research is concerned, knowledge discovery is concerned. And if you see the job prospect, and if you see the total role of your biological science, then if you see the Department of Biotechnology, Government of India policy, in 2012, the role of biotechnology was very limited in our total GDP. But by 2025, it's going to be your 100 billion. And from 3 billion economy, if we are dreaming to become 5 billion, 1 billion will be contributed by your biological sciences, where animal science has a key role. So see what you like, see what is feasible in your area in terms of graduation, post-graduation, and PhD, and then also see 33% weightage. What is the scope of the subject? And we all are here to give you the 33% weightage in your selection decision. Like first 33% weightage is you like it, please think about it. Then Is it feasible in your nearby area to study biosciences, botany, zoology, chemistry, veterinary science, medical science? Please go ahead. Then when you are specializing in your master's or maybe in your PhD, and if you are in a medical science, we need not to explain you can take your own decision, please go ahead. But when you are working for animal science, veterinary science, then please listen to our inputs while taking the decision that yes, animal science has a high scope, 33% weightage you can give and you can move forward. Suppose those who are in 12th class and they wish to study animal science, then where to go? To go? I have enough money, no problem. Parents are well educated, no problem. They can guide you. We will not interfere. But those who are little confused, that is the mission of Sri Lakshmi Narayan Bakshiji, and we all four scientists of different sub-disciplines of the biological science or animal science, we are here to facilitate and translate the mission of Sri Lakshmi ji into the reality, especially for our student. So ICR is conducting UG test and PG test and PhD test. So and it has a lot of centers and you can apply. The fee is very less, and that's the grand opportunity, especially for your admission. And those who are in undergraduation, if you see ICR, then it has a 3,075 seat with fellowship of 12,640 rupees to first 600 rankers. So why not? If the government is giving fellowship, it definitely it has a huge scope because government also requires a talented manpower, national talent fellowship, so that the agriculture sector is also genetically, intellectually enriched for the generations to come, because it requires. And then those who could not get 12,000 rupees and still they are in the merit list, then definitely they are going to get 5,000 rupees per month if they leave the state and they leave the university in which they have undergraduated, because now the policy is a sort of avoid the interbreeding and let the student to have exposure of the other university. So this is the message for undergraduate students, that they can make their career in animal science using this kind of great opportunity based on the objective type test, and then you can be self-managed. That's the mission of Sri Lakshmi Narayan ji, that how to motivate the student when they can do better in animal science if they like it. Second option is, suppose you have done your graduation and you are looking for your post graduation, and you want to study biotechnology, which is, I was talking about the 100 billion by 2025. In 2018, 50 billion already it has reached. So it's not the political slogan, it's the reality of the scope of biotechnology. So if you see that, then earlier the test was from Jawaharlal Nehru University Common Entrance Test, entrance examination for biotechnology, SIB. But now the SIB has changed, and now Department of Biotechnology is taking GAT B, that is Graduate Aptitude Test in Biotechnology. And if you are clearing that exam, then you will have an opportunity to have admission in 34 universities or institutions. Maybe you can do MSc biotechnology, you can do MSc agriculture biotechnology if you are a agriculture graduate, and you can specialize in animal science. And if you are a veterinary graduate, then definitely you can do MVSc biotechnology. And the amount of fellowship which you are going to get is, if it is a MSc biotechnology that you are doing after 3-year course of botany, zoology, chemistry, you are going to get 3,000 rupees per month. And if it is a central university, then it's a huge support because the fee is too less, it's almost nothing. And maybe you require 2,000 more from your parents, and in 5,000 in central university, like where we graduated or post-graduated, it was good enough. The fellowship was good enough. In fact, after graduation, I did not take money from my own parents, and that's the example I am sharing with the latest figure. And now, if you are a agriculture biotechnology student, then through this GAT-B test, you are going to get 7,500 rupees per month fellowship, and you are, if a veterinary science BBSc student, you are going to get 12,000 rupees per month fellowship. That means once you complete your graduation, your entire career can be self-sponsored if you are moving towards to become the scientist, maybe of biological scientist, animal scientist, whatever is your choice. Now, those who are in class 12th, if suppose you are in the, maybe your brother and sister, if you are in a graduate, or maybe your neighbor or whosoever is, pass this message to them also, that if you are an undergraduate, you are clearing the ICR UG test, then you have again 3,000 rupees per month fellowship, and you can get admission, and you can build your career, and then you can specialize it in the animal science. So in nutshell, I will say a lot of career opportunities in area of science it is coming. Apart from this, those who are in graduation, they can also do the test of JAM, that is joint admission test for MSc, from the IITs and NIITs. So the JAM exam, again, it is an objective type test, and if you clear that, you get your master's degree to become scientist, including the animal scientist, with the fellowship from the IITs, where you have much better exposure, and you are mentored by the top academic brains of the country, and you can build up your career. Those who are in class 12th, they can also take exam of a national entrance test, or screening test, or NEST, especially to get admission in National Institute of Science and Educational Research. One is already in the Bhubaneswar, Naisar, and maybe in the Mumbai, where you have Center for Advanced Study, and you can have your studies there with the National Fellowship. Apart from this, there is a common entrance test for the Central University, CUCET. So those who are in class 12th or those who are in graduation, they can make an attempt through Central University test, and they can get admission, and some of them can even avail the fellowship. And this JAM test is in 71 cities in all the 8 zones with the 3-hour test. And if you enter in IITs for your masters, including your biotechnology masters, you have a bright career. Apart from this, those who are already in post graduation, they can go for GRE, and they can go abroad. And when you are applying abroad, if you are applying to the European countries, the fee is very less, cost of living is very less. Those who are applying for US, the southern part, the western part, has the cost of living is very high, and if you come to the eastern part of the US, yes, the cost of living, except the New York area, is less. So we can discuss case by case through Lakshmiji if any student is moving towards the other country for the career. These are the great grand opportunity for the students to become scientists. And if you see the job opportunity within India in the private sector, yes, it is expanding very high, and especially new area like biopharma, bioservices, bioagrochemicals, bioindustries, bioinformatics, bioenergy, and your food technology area, and personalized genomics. These are the upcoming area, and it has a huge scope. And what I will suggest to our students, that if you are in post graduation, think that I will change my discipline, and I will try to add biology with nanotechnology, biology with big data, or biology with information technology. Then your learning will be very high, and your competence will be very high, and you will have bigger projects, you will have better return, better happiness, and better learning, and country will definitely grow from the 48th rank to the other rank. And one misconception is there, that if you missed something, then you cannot come back to the very same subject. But what I will give you one hint, that you see the Pichai, who is heading the Google, and Indian brains are fantastic brain. But the big question is, if the Indian brains are so high, dear students, please listen to me. If Indian brain is so high, then why we are not very high in the innovation? You know the reason? The reason is quota type of institution where we are well trained to score very high, get the admission, then we expect very high package and do the repeated job. We never look towards our own, that can I do something new. And you see today one apple is getting sold, is being sold, but 33% revenue is coming to US, those who invented. And today you see the earning of Facebook, today you see the earning of WhatsApp. It's going to be the kind of market it is having. So if you have an innovation, the world is yours, and innovation will happen if you change the discipline. Coming back to the pitch, you see all our IIT JEE toppers, none of them could reach to become to head the Google company. But you see the person having the metallurgy background did so much new things. So in science, it happens that you think out of box or out of place, you can do extraordinarily well. And I worked in biological science for 15 years, but something was coming in from inside, that I am much more tilted towards the electronic gadget. I was much more attracted towards the computer. And when the first livestock was to be sequenced, I jumped into the dry lab, and the whole genome data, which was published in the top journal Science, I was one of the co-author. Then I could realize that if back in India, I was doing my postdoc in US, so I realized that if I come back to India, again joining my duty, I was on duty in US. So I thought, why not to do such things in India? And I was fortunate that I became the first biologist in a statistical science institute where a lot of new things are happening. And we developed DNA based signature of the plant varieties for the first time in the world, which got published in the Nature group of journal. So many cutting edge science, and we developed the team of the statistics person, expert from the computer person, and a multidisciplinary team. And now we have a huge funding, even in the post-COVID, perhaps the highest funding we can ever think of. So the message I am trying to give to all the students, that be confident that if you like, you come. And animal science has a huge scope, especially after artificial intelligence and precision dairy farming. Like if you see the meat, and sir was Professor D.V. Singh was talking, I was so happy to listen to sir, that quality. So you see the spectroscopy phenotyping of the milk, especially for the texture, especially the mozzarella type of smell, the aroma, and they are used DNA based selection. And today, now the cattle is getting selected based on the horoscope. And you know how the horoscope is made? The total DNA is taken, and then it is sequenced. Their variants are discovered, and they are put in an Excel sheet. So if you have a bull, in our horoscope, traditionally 9 planets, but in case of bull, as on today for cattle, we have 77K. That much your SNP variation is there in a single bull, and that is associated with its trait, like its ability to produce milk, the feed conversion efficiency, including the quality, like how much the marbling is there, how much softness is there, how much tenderness is there. So this kind of predictive biology is coming, and now people are using machine learning, deep learning, big data, especially to control the entire breeding, including now the cattle is a fermenter, a bioreactor, not the fermenter, where what the input is going, what the output is coming out, and how to optimize, like how much weightage we have to give to the disease resistance rate, how much to the longevity, and how much is the productivity. So now the mathematics and the science is well integrated into the animal science, and lot of new things are happening. And like the animal saliva, now it is used, that can we identify that animal is in heat, this is the right time for the insemination. From the saliva, or maybe from the urine, can you predict the biomarkers like the microRNA based markers to predict the entire health. These new areas are also coming, and a lot of new discoveries are happening. And I got a text question here about the Maharana Pratap horse, and someone has asked that which breed it belongs to. So the information I have that it is of Marwari type of breed, the Chetak, which we are answering. And one student has asked what your breed is the best. So the answer is depending on the locality and the purpose, breed is best. If you see by cost, then definitely Marwari by 20,000 US dollar, more than 1 crore. The article was in 2016 in the India Today. But the best one is the location. Like if you are in a Manipur and you want to use the horse, then Manipuri is the best because it is well acclimatized. And if you are in a hilly area, then a smaller horse like Bhutia is the best. So we cannot answer which one is the best. But depending on the type of use, the geographical ecological niches, it can perform well adapted. And at lower temperature, definitely Janskari type of horse can do well. So this is the quick answer. And now I am summing it up. In animal scientist, you have three major areas to specialize. One is the diagnostics. Second area is therapeutics, like developing the new molecules, drugs for the treatment of the animals. And the third area, which is hugely computational, in which area we are specializing now, that is the predictive biology. Like you have a semen straw, but you know the merit that if it is used with this cow, what will be the predicted health, what will be the predicted yield. And the progeny testing program, like 5 years it takes one cow to become grandma. But if you have the DNA based test, you can predict those things and reduce the period, and you can increase the per unit genetic gain time. You can increase per unit of time. So this kind of predictive biology is now coming up. And in case of poultry, DNA-based selected eggs are now getting exported to 110 countries. So it has a huge scope. And now I will wind up here, and we look forward to our fourth expert, and then we will go to the individual question answer. So this is all from my side. And now over to Sri Lakshminarayan Bakshi.
Thank you, Dr. Dinesh Kumar. I welcome to Dr. Swagat Mahapatra, Associate Professor, UUT Bhubaneswar, to deliver his knowledge, experience, and research related activities to our students. Mahapatra, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Lakshminarayan Bakshi. And I'm thankful to you for organizing such a event. And I really feel privileged to speak among the eminent scientists of India, I would say. So this topic is all about want to become an animal scientist. Since all the eminent scientists have highlighted about the different aspects of animal science, I don't want to repeat those. I just want to go to one psychological questions to all the students here. The question is, have you taken the services of a veterinarian? And I'm sure out of the 31 participants who are present leaving us, most of the people will be saying no. Because some people, I said, some people will be saying yes. Those are the pet keepers, somebody having a dog or a cattle or a cow or bhopal, all these things. But the thing to be highlighted is the entire society is taking the services of a veterinarian, but that is not highlighted. For example, I wanted to give more than 80% of the farmers are still dependent on cattle and buffalo for plowing their fields. And these cattle and buffalo, when they fall sick, they are being treated by a veterinarian. We enter into a party and whatnot items, tandoor chicken, chili paneer, ice creams, gulab jamun, cheese, everything. But have you people ever thought as a common man that the poultry farms, the poultry industry, that is being taken care or that is being maintained by veterinarians? Owner is different, but veterinarians are necessary for vaccinating the birds, for treatment of the birds, and for keeping them in proper health, right? And about goat production, castration of the goats, that is being taken care by the veterinarians. Milk production, as DB Singh sir rightly pointed out, we are the #1 milk producers of the world. India is #1. But veterinarians play a indomitable role in bringing about milk production in the process of artificial insemination, etc. Then coming to your food security, means coming to our health aspect, we know that the medical colleges like AIMS, ILS, like NISERS, they all have got laboratory animal facilities. And these laboratory animals on which drugs are experimented before taking out any sort of medicines, before going for any sort of vaccination, these are the animals which are tested first. And these animals are maintained in by a veterinarian in the laboratory animal facility. Even the world's first COVID vaccine brought out by the company Pfizer, and the CEO of Pfizer, Mr. Albert, he is also a veterinarian. So the health department or the health security of the humans also, in the process, veterinarians are playing an indomitable role. Thirdly, about your entertainment, whenever your guests come to your house, you often take them to zoo. You often take them to wildlife sanctuaries. And have you ever thought that there are some veterinary doctors who are working day and night there to preserve the animal, to maintain the health of the animals? So this, as a common person, this as a common man, we should highlight our, you should know that we are working in that aspect also. Fourthly, about the defense sector. You have seen the movie Bajrangi Bhaijaan. In that you are seeing that the camels are used by Indian Army to patrol the desert. The sniper dogs like Labrador Retriever, like German Shepherd dogs, these are used by the Indian Army, by the police itself, to search for different landmines, to search for different smuggled goods. And these animals in the Indian Army, say it in the ITBP, say it in the BSF, these are all treated or taken care by the veterinarians. So veterinarians are helpful in your agricultural production. Veterinarians are also playing important role in your food security. Veterinarians are playing important role in your entertainment aspect. Veterinarians are also taking care of the health of the humans also. And finally, veterinarians are also helping in the defense sector also, right? And second thing, this is about treatment. You are not interested in treatment, you can choose the line that Dr. Sai Kumar sir, Dr. DV Singh sir, Dr. Dinesh Kumar sir have taken. You can become scientists at ICR. You can research on production, reproduction part. You can research on different climate aspect, like, because you know that heat stress is one of the most important talked about topic right now. So you can also research on that. And secondly, you can become assistant professors like me in any of the universities, where you will be simultaneously teaching the students, as well as you can also do some research, not to the extent of the scientists of the eminent scientists who are sitting, but little research you can also do. And finally, this thing must be taken into mind by the students, and they can choose their career. Students are the future of this country. They need to ascertain, they need to analyze, introspect properly before choosing any career. And I wish you all the best. I am again thankful to Mr. Boxy for organizing this fabulous program, and to all the eminent scientists, namaskar. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mahapatra sir. We'll take the question one by one. Anybody have a question? So please raise your hand and put contact any question related to your career. Please go ahead. Please. Dear student.
Sir, good evening. Sir, I am Ipsita Panda. I am continuing my MSc degree in Centurion University in zoology. Sir, my question is, what is heterosis, sir?
Yes. Heterosis.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Swagat sir.
May I reply to you?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Singh sir.
Madam, this heterosis is the performance, rather the overperformance of the immediate hybrid which is formed by the crossing of two different breeds or line, meaning that the performance of such an hybrid, which is obtained from the crossing of two different breeds or lines, that performance is excelled over both the parents. So that degree of superiority over the parents is known as heterosis, and the people would like to retain this heterosis through their excellent breeding programs. Otherwise, it naturally vanishes slowly over next generations. So this is termed as heterosis. It may be in any trait which could be measurable, say in the production of milk, say maybe production of the crop yield, that is the grains, or the size, or anything which you can measure. Okay, are you satisfied?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Arpita Priyadarshini?
Yes, sir. So good evening, sir, and to all. So good evening to all this. Good evening to all the scientists and my professors present here. So my question is, after my after the master's course, I am a UG student now. So after my master's course, can I contribute to the field of research, or or PG is mandatory?
Dr. Dinesh Kumar ji?
Yes, after your undergraduate, you can directly go to the 5 years integrated research program, which I was referring as a JAM test. If you qualify that, then definitely you can go to the research, but it will be 5-year integrated program where technically you will be doing your master's and then PhD both, but it is by research integrated. So the answer is yes, it is possible in selected institutions, not all. And you can reach to the research there are two ways to reach. One, the integrated program, where you get the master's degree also by research, and otherwise you have the general traditional option also, where you do your PG or the master's program and then you go for the research. You are not going to lose time, but you select the best institution rather than the best route. That's my hint to you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Sai Kumar sir, any from you? Sir, audio is missing, sir. Audio is missing.
There are not very many institutes where integrated course is offered. So the usual route would be go for a master's of your choice discipline. And there also you get your first exposure to doing some small thesis research there. And then once you get move on to do a doctoral study for PhD, then of course you have nearly 2 years of research experience there to work on the discipline where you have chosen. So if it is a microbiology, then you could be doing some research on microbiome, and depending there again on what the faculty is presently researching on, you won't get a full freedom to work on the subject of your choice. If you are determined that you will work on tuberculosis, you will have to find an institute where scientists or academicians are working on tuberculosis. So you will have to carefully choose your research field through your interest and locating a suitable professor where you could be guided in that kind of field of research. So that needs some careful thinking, but yes, there's plenty of scope for all this in many of the state agriculture universities to the central agriculture universities, and other streams also of life sciences also take in animal scientists and veterinary scientists for furthering research. I think that should suffice.
Thank you, sir. Ashutosh
Thank you,
Mahabhadra.
sir. Thank you.
Ashutosh Mahabhadra ji.
Good evening, sir. Sir, I am continuing my BPSC course from OUET Bhubaneswar. Sir, I have a doubt. Why only animals are being chosen for clinical testing of vaccines? Why not humans, sir?
सिंह साहब बता सकते हैं ज्यादा एक्सपीरियंस है तो क्यों एनिमल को चूज कर रहे हैं?
See, I think Dr. Sai Kumar can also reply to it because
Sir.
he is a pathologist.
Sir.
But I would certainly say that anyone, any live animal can be chosen, which has a compatibility with the human system. And all the laboratory animals, they have been kept for this very purpose to test medicines first. And then if the medicine is found or vaccine is found suitable, then it could be applied over to human beings. And human beings being the most clever, I should say, the individuals on earth, so they would like to exploit this facility from the animals. But this is being done nowadays with great caution. No laboratory animal is being punished unnecessarily. No laboratory animal is penalized or pained excessively, and only that many number of animals are required minimally, so test is done over that. So this is not going to harm the animals much, but at least some people or some organisms or some animals are required to test the drugs first. But in the form of vaccine, which this COVID-19 vaccine, many people, human beings, they volunteered themselves to test the vaccine over them first before being applied in other humans. So there are volunteers available. If such kind of volunteers are available in large numbers and they are documented and listed, so the animals can be left over. Okay, so this is only because that they are easily available. No doubt they are silent and become sufferers, but that care is being taken by the institutional animal ethics committee. Thank you.
And any Sai Kumar
Sir,
sir,
nothing much to supplement there. I would like to, because Dr. Singh just mentioned my name, I would like to assure the student who asked that question, leave aside any particular examples. But these days it is not easy that you take any animals and use them indiscriminately without taking care of their welfare issues too and all. So very stringent regulations are in place. Experimental protocols have to be approved by specific bodies, regulatory authorities that yes, these are the minimum number of animals required to do the preliminary testing. Before we inject anything into humans as a drug, a prototype drug or a prototype vaccine, you have to ensure that they are safe. They have to be rigorously tested. And you know there have been a lot of bad experiences when we have rushed through these procedures and we thought they would be safe on a limited trial basis in humans. Then with over time we realized that well, we didn't test for all possible conditions, and what we thought was safe isn't actually safe for humans. So there won't be time to elaborate on this. You can search and find information with respect to bad experiences of humankind when we rush through these procedures. So first of all, is it safe? When injected in say 5 times or 10 times the recommended dose, sometimes by mistake someone can take 2 pills or against the doctor's advice, sometimes foolishly can take a overdose of it, then would it result in something serious complications or death of someone using the medicine? So that's why in animals in the first place, how safe is it? How many times, maybe 10 times the recommended dose would be tested in animals first. So that gives an idea that yes, this is safe and it won't have any very serious adverse effects immediately noticeable. We would also like to ensure that it is safe and it won't give you anything additional side effects. So such like things can also be inferred through these experimental trials in the laboratory animals. Now, I think you have asked this question in terms of what we have been reading and that we have rushed through the procedures for bringing out a COVID vaccine. If that is the case, then I want to assure that
Hello, sir.
in fact that is not the case. Yes, limited trials were done, and these being very extraordinary conditions we have, and that is very much within our means. And experts are observing and are highly vigilant about all these procedures. If for any other disease it were not a pandemic of the proportion that we have come to be in place, we would have done all this through very leisurely. But only relaxation that we have done is here that under strict supervision, these trials will be conducted. The phase 3 trials in the humans finally will be done under very strict supervision, and the data would be then analyzed properly, and then all it completes the whole procedure. Otherwise, by now, there has been adequate data already on safety issues in animals to humans. So don't be scared about such things. The media tends to be, even for proven vaccines, I tell you, there are a lot of misapprehensions that people do buy from hearsay also, or bad publicity by vested interest groups, and the fear psychosis overrules, and they think, oh no, it will do us more harm than good. But that's not the case.
Thank you. Priyadarshini.
Hello.
Yes.
Good evening, sir. I am Molly and I am from Nathubai V. Patel College. Sir, my question is, can we relate animal science with food science? And also I want to know, okay, what are the job opportunity which we will get if we choose animal science?
Dinesh Kumar ji.
Yes, the question is very interesting, and animal science and food science, it's a overlapping, and it all depends on your interest. National Institute of Food Technology is there, CFTRI is there. If you are an animal graduate, then definitely you can move and you can look for some of the courses. And even if you are specialized to the biochemistry, or maybe you are specialized to the normal chemistry, you can enjoy and you can move forward. And National Dairy Research Institute is also now an upcoming institute where dairy science, in the dairy science area, you can do a lot of things on food, and even the horticultural product also you can do a lot of things in area of the food science. So food science is an upcoming area, and many institutions they take admission in UG program, PG program, and PhD program, and you can enter to the PhD program in the area of food science very directly. A lot of food science projects are also running. So food science happens to be a multidisciplinary area where you can pursue your career from multiple. Even some of the engineering graduates are also entering into the food science, especially for the technology aspect.
Thank you. And Sumaranjan ji.
Hello?
Yes, please ask your question.
Good evening, sirs. And I'm from OUAT. I'm doing my VVSC from there. And my question is that do animals also get depressed like humans over a long period of time?
Singh sir.
Yes, your question is whether the animals get depressed. Is it so?
Yes.
Yes, yes, sir.
Yes, certainly. Why not? That's why the subject of welfare has emerged into your courses, which you must have been studying in first year, the welfare of animals. Okay, and the welfare requirements, which you must have learned to express their behavior optimally. Yes, certainly. That's why sometimes you get they are very alert, sometimes they are very slow, sluggish, or depressed, as you say. It happens in all the living beings, particularly the animals. So they are not away from human beings in that way of feeling. Thank you.
किसी का सवाल है? Any
Thank
more
you, sir.
question?
Sir,
Yes,
sir,
please.
sir, is molecular genetics important for the animal production?
That Dr. Dinesh Kumar has already detailed the DNA. Yes, and all that. DNA fingerprinting, DNA horoscope, and all that. It is the ultimate structure of a living being which influences all the expressible traits. And it is different from individual to individual, except the twins which are from the same zygote or monozygotic twins. Otherwise, the DNA structure is going to change in each and every individual. And you know it that yes, this is DNA, and all our fingerprints also, individual fingerprints, they also vary. So what to talk about the DNA? That also has to vary much. Thank you.
Any more question? Any more question, or will we end up the session because already time is already over? Any one or two? Yes.
Hello, sir. Good evening.
Hello.
Yes.
Pursuing my bachelor's degree from OUT. So my question is that can we go after our bachelor's degree? Can we pursue for foreign institutes for our master's degree? And what are the job scopes in that? And can we further after that transition back to India?
Dinesh Kumar ji.
Yes, definitely. You have options to go for masters in all the major developed country. The system is quite open, and what I will suggest that you have to appear in GRE, and you need a good score, and depending on the country you may have TOEFL. But if you do not want to go for this, then you may think about Australian countries, maybe European countries. I will recommend you the European countries if you do not wish to be in that much strict system of the TOEFL and other thing. But yes, that option is there. And second option is you do your masters and get 2 years of experience. What our students are doing, they are coming to our institute ICR ISRI at Delhi, working in the project after their masters for 2 years and publishing 1 or 2 paper, and then they are going for PhD with very good fellowship, very good amount of the fellowship in European countries, and they have a bright future. And many of them, after doing their doctoral and postdoctoral, they are coming back and they are getting their placement in the IITs, central universities. So you have a bright future. I will not say brain drain, but I will say brain bank. That you go there, get deposited, have some dividend, and come back and serve the country. But if you feel like going and leaving the country, then individually I will criticize you, but as a scientist I will say you have every right to go, because you know in government setup, for every student government is spending so much of money in subsidized education, and ultimately who is going to serve our country? So I am happy that you are thinking that I will go abroad but I will come back and serve the country. We appreciate, we really wish you good luck. You have very bright future if you think in this line. Thank you.
Sir, I want to supplement a bit. Even after completion, suppose you have gone abroad and you want to come back to India. So government of India is also giving some fellowships like Ram Linga Swami Fellowship. I hope I am right, sir. And you can also come back to India and you can serve your home country.
Yes.
And additionally, I would like to make a quick point. I heard there are a good number of students from OUAT. I am so very pleased and to share that I am also a graduate from OUAT. And I have had many friends, my batchmates, who have now permanent positions and are citizens of USA or in the Europe as well. And there are many that I know have taken this route to acquire higher degrees elsewhere in the best of the research organizations and institutions abroad, and they have come back to take some job. There is also another opportunity. You could be here taking a job here and still go for advanced research as a postdoc. You could be a master's and into academics here and go for a PhD program which government and not only Indian government and foreign countries also make allowance for that, pay you dearly. While you are still on the job, you can go for a higher education in any of the leading research institutions abroad. So the opportunity doesn't end anywhere. The lifetime learning process and the opportunities for it is always open. Thank you.
थैंक यू। और किसी का सवाल है तो लास्ट क्वेश्चन ऑफ द सेशन हम लेंगे। लास्ट
Yes, sir.
ओके,
Good evening, sir.
Excuse me, sir.
बोले बोले बोले। यस
Sir, why veterinary hospitals don't have OTs unlike human hospitals? Sir, operation theaters, separate room.
ओके, और किसी का सवाल है? एक ही साथ ले लेंगे। और किसी का सवाल है, पूछ रहे चलो।
Yes, sir. Good evening, sir.
yes.
सर मेरा क्वेश्चन ये था कि other than conservation, sir, does the captive environment affect their genetic characteristic? The captivates.
और किसी का सवाल है?
Sir, what is PETA?
Okay, we'll take one by one. Sir, Dinesh Kumar sir, or any?
Yes, you see, I would summarize all three questions briefly. First of all, comparing the human hospitals or human operation theaters with the animals or veterinary hospitals. The veterinary hospitals, they have small buildings in field I'm talking about, but the veterinary hospitals in the colleges, they have the huge complex and they are at par with the medical colleges, operation theaters in many of the veterinary colleges. You would wonder that the facilities which exist in many veterinary colleges, they are sometimes missing in medical colleges. You would wonder. You please visit different veterinary colleges and then perhaps your perception will change. The another question, whether the captive wild animals in zoo, they change their genetic makeup. So dear student, the genetic makeup is decided at the time of the fusion of sperm with the ova. In the female genital tract, that is the formation of zygote, and then this genetic makeup will remain the same till this zygote becomes the young one at the time of birth and up to its death. So genetic makeup is not going to change, but the expressions which the animal will show in the zoo or in the wild form, they will differ because the animal is not accustomed. The wild animals are not that way accustomed to live in captivity. And again, it is not possible to provide all those facilities in the zoo which the animal otherwise would be getting in wild. So that's why the expression changes, but not the genetic makeup. Okay.
And I will add only one point what sir has said. Sometime epigenetic effect is also seen in long term through several generations. So even if the effect is there, sir has said very rightly, DNA will not change, but the expression will change, which sir has said. And sometime this methylation pattern or some kind of regulatory pattern gets changed, which makes its effect across few generations. You will see that environment has influenced through epigenetics, and a lot of changes in happening in the expressional part through the environment. That is the area of study for epigenetics that we call it, and that's a new area of research.
Thank you, sir. और किसी का सवाल है तो अदरवाइज विल वाइंड अप द सेशन बिकॉज ऑलरेडी 8:30. Thank you. Yes, go ahead. Last. Yes.
Sir, what is PETA? People for Ethical Treatment of Animals.
It is a welfare organization. Like this PETA, there are many welfare organizations in the country which exist throughout the length and width of the country, with the headquarters located at different places. So this is also in the same list, the welfare organizations, which looks for the animals, whether the cruelty is being done over there, and they also recommend certain views on that, how the things could be better managed. So this is a welfare organization. Like this, there are many other welfare organizations in the country for the welfare of the animals. Okay.
Thank you. थैंक यू सर. तो आज का सेशन को यहीं पर खत्म करने के लिए हम इजाजत लेंगे प्रोफेसर DV सिंह साहब से और डॉक्टर दिनेश कुमार, डॉक्टर जी साई कुमार और डॉक्टर स्वागत महापात्र साहब को, कि आपका बहुमूल्य समय बच्चे लोग को देने के लिए बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद. और हम आगे गुजारिश करेंगे कि बच्चे लोग को जो भी ईमेल आपके पास है तो शायद महापात्र जी को दीजिए और मेरे को दीजिए, ताकि हम कनेक्ट कर लेंगे. आज नहीं तो कल भी कुछ भी सवाल होगा तो हम विल कनेक्ट. दिनेश कुमार जी, साई कुमार जी और प्रोफेसर सिंह जी हर समय में आपके लिए उपलब्ध हैं. तो हम गुजारिश करेंगे कि आप आगे बहुत आगे बढ़े. और एनिमल साइंस में जैसे जी साई कुमार IUT से पास होकर आज IBRA में पढ़े हैं और दिनेश कुमार विश्व के हर कोने में जाकर अपना जो बलबूते जो नॉलेज है शेयर कर रहे हैं. आप लोग, हम उम्मीद करते हैं कि आप लोग भी ऐसे करें. इसीलिए आप डॉक्टर DV साहब को बहुत बहुत, सिंह साहब को धन्यवाद, पंतनगर से जुड़े हुए हैं. डॉक्टर दिनेश कुमार जो दिल्ली से जुड़े हुए हैं और साई कुमार जी बरेली से जुड़े हैं और महापात्र जी हमारा OUT से जुड़े हैं भुवनेश्वर से. सबके लिए मेरा बहुत बड़ा नमस्कार. और बच्चे लोग को हम उम्मीद करते हैं कि आप लोग जो भी डाउट होता है, अभी जैसे दिनेश कुमार साहब ने बताया कि अपना एक पैशन रखिए ताकि सब कुछ संभव है. इस दुनिया में ऐसा कोई चीज नहीं है. आई एम नॉट ए स्टूडेंट ऑफ साइंस बट आई एम ए स्टूडेंट ऑफ इकोनॉमिक्स, बट आई एम डूइंग द साइंस last 5 years and I am teaching science every year more than 50,000 students as a career. So it is possible with your passion, not in, इसलिए हम आपसे गुजारिश करते हैं कि जस्ट टाइम में आपको जरूरत है तो आपको नॉक कीजिए. DV सिंह साहब गूगल पे जाइए. आज का डेट में साइंस एंड टेक्नोलॉजी बहुत कुछ आगे बढ़े. टेक्नोलॉजी का उपयोग कीजिए और आप बहुत आगे जा सकेंगे. थैंक यू टू ऑल.
मुझे बख्शी जी अगर 30 सेकेंड्स देंगे तो मैं एक दो बातें कहना चाहूंगा. बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद सभी को. मुझे ये टाइटल ऑफ द प्रोग्राम बहुत अच्छा लगा, बहुत ही इम्प्रेसिव और इम्पैक्टफुल टाइटल है, क्योंकि इसी फिलॉसफी है मैं भी बिलीव करता हूँ. और सबके ये इन छात्रों को सबको मैं यही कहना चाहूंगा, बिलीव इन योरसेल्फ दैट यू कैन. It's a very powerful slogan. When you believe in yourself, you can do wonderful. Everything is possible. You'll achieve what you wish to. Believe in that. And I had this very good opportunity to know Dr. DV Singh to Dr. Dinesh Kumar. And I would like to thank the organizers and more especially Mr. Bakshi for giving me this opportunity. Thank you very much. Bye.
Concluding remark of Dinesh Kumar and Singh sir.
And you see, I'm also thankful, and I also have the same views as Dr. Sai Kumar has spoken out. Nothing away from this. Really, the title is very good. It has a meaning in Hindi as well, and perhaps in Odia also, as you are saying. And all the participants, students, they are very curious. They have been very curious. And all my friends over here at the platform, Dr. Swagat Mohapatra, Dr. Sai Kumar, Dr. Dinesh, really, I have the same views as Dr. Sai Kumar has said. The opportunity gave me to meet you all, and also I appreciate a lot. the passion of our Lakshmi Boxy. So thank you very much for this opportunity, wonderful opportunity, I would say, and we will meet again. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. We'll definitely meet within a different session. We'll conduct more and program. Thank you, Dr. Dinesh Kumarji or Mahapatra sir.
Thank you. I will only say to Sri Lakshmi Narayanji that Lakshmi is actually money, and knowledge is actually Saraswati, the wisdom. And since my childhood, I have been told that Lakshmi can follow Saraswati, but Saraswati cannot follow Lakshmi. And today I saw the same thing in you, that your name is Lakshmi and you are person of economics, but you are following the knowledge, the goddess of the knowledge, the wisdom, the Saraswati, and you are connecting more than 50,000 students in a year. So I just wish to salute your scientific spirit, the spirit of mankind, and what Dr. Sai Kumar sir has said and Dr. D.V. Singh sir has said, and really you are building the faith in the student. They are the future. So you are serving the country perhaps much better than us. That definitely I will say. And hats off to your mission, and we are committed to be with you. And thankful to all the students to listen and putting the question, keeping us to feel really happy to be of some use. Thank you. And I also appreciate Dr. Mahapatra. I learned many aspects of the veterinary science from him, and definitely as a teacher, he is going to produce a very brilliant scientist, and that's the role of the DNA. And perhaps the scientist is only RNA and protein. We are whatever today, it is because of certain good teachers, like here the people are sitting in the panel and playing their role as a teacher. So the person like you and the persons, those who are in teaching, they are the DNA of the country for the tomorrow's future. And Bharat, what is today, the Bharat today, that is the biotechnology or BT. If you add IT, that India tomorrow, or information technology, I think the time has come and the students have drawn the interest from this session, and some of them will really do best for the country. Thank you.
थैंक यू स्वागत महापात्र जी। और बच्चे लोग को हम भी गुजारिश करते हैं कि अगला सेशन में हमारा 3 नया युवा IAS ऑफिसर आ रहे हैं। बच्चे लोग को IAS के ऊपर हम आगे अगला हफ्ते में कार्यक्रम करेंगे, फिर नया प्रोग्राम हम करते रहेंगे, पूरा साल भर ऐसा चलता रहेगा। तो बच्चे लोग जुड़े रहे हैं। हम फिर आप सभी को धन्यवाद देते हैं और आज का प्रोग्राम को यहीं पर खत्म करते हैं। थैंक यू सर।
Best wishes to your efforts. Yeah, keep it going.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.